everyone, it's Gio, and today we're going to learn about Deoksu Palace's history very shortly. Now, let's get started. Originally, this area was just a private residence of Prince Hwasan, son of the 7th King Sejong. During the Japanese invasion in 1592, the 14th King Seonjo, who fled to the north border, came back to the capital and began to stay here as a temporary palace, because all the palaces in Seoul were burned down. This is the beginning of the Gyeonggung, Deoksu Palace. He did not move his residence and lived in Gyeonggung until his death in 1608. While King Seonjo was living, he instructed that this palace should be much wider as it was too narrow. Gradually, it was widened and was named Gyeonggung in 1611 by Lord Gwanghae, the son of King Seonjo. Sadly, Lord Gwanghae was dethroned from his post by political rivals, and the new King Injo received the crown. He finally finished the reconstruction of Changnokgung and moved to the rebuilt palace. After that, he returned the grounds to the original owners except for some buildings in Gyeonggung. It became smaller again and rarely used. This palace appears upon the scene of Korean modern history. We already know that the Joseon dynasty opened the doors to foreign countries in the late 19th century, and that it was in chaos for a while. King Gojong, the second last king of Joseon dynasty, tried very hard to reform and make the country better. In 1987, he proclaimed the Korean Empire, receiving the title of emperor in this palace. At that time, he used Gyeonggung as a new political base for the empire, so he enlarged the palace. Officially, Gyeonggung was much wider than today's one. However, it was never easy to make it against the Western powers. Emperor Gojong was dethroned by a pro-Japanese group who wanted to colonize Korea. After 3 years, his empire was finally colonized by Japan in 1910. After dethronement, Gojong lived in Gyeonggung as the ex-emperor with his family until his death in 1919. His son, the last Emperor Seonjong, renamed the palace Deoksugung in recognition of his father's long life. That's the meaning of the new name. And it was the history of Deoksu Palace, and now let's meet Simon.
어리랑하는 소리 하나니 묻어지고 땅이 툭 꺼진 한듯 차례 정신없이 먹으로 움츠리고 가만히 엎젖었다. 멍 내려온다 봄이 내려온다 송이 깊은 골로 한 인생이 내려온다 누의 머리를 흔들며 향기 쭉 찢어지고 몸은 헐쑥.
In the front yard of Junghajeon Hall, there were stones laid out that looks meaningless and are not smooth. Why are these rough rocks placed in the front yard of Junghajeon Hall when they do not match it? We call this bakseok, and there is a very deep meaning behind it. Deoksugung Junghajeon is the main hall of the palace, where major national ceremonies, such as the royal crowning ceremonies, ordinances, and receiving foreign envoys were held. The name Junghwa means having the right mind without leaning to one side. It is a building built after the imperial state was declared, and the overall color is golden. The thin and white stones on the floor are called bakseok. All the palace grounds are either covered with bakseok or soil. These don't look very nice, but they have some special purposes. Bakseok are dull, so they don't reflect the sun into the people's eyes. It is because the stone is granite. On the surface of rough granite, quartz and white mica is included. These reflects the sun that spread and join again, which produces new light. Why didn't the people paste the high quality tiles meticulously? There is a soil between each tile. When it rains in the palace, the soil drains the rainwater and prevents making puddles and floods. The soil also was used, considering the officials' comfort. During summer, when they had a ceremony, some officials had to stand in the strong heat. Unfortunately, the stone gets hot, and the official's foot gets hot because of the thin leather boots he is wearing. Considering this, the soil between the stones was added to let the official's foot cool on the soil. The stones here were severely damaged and new stones were placed. If you want to see the originals, go to the Royal Ancestral Shrine. Like Pakso, in our palace, the wisdom of our ancestors is hidden everywhere.
Hi everyone, it's me, Edith. Did you have great time in Deoksugung? I hope you did, because Christine and Simon did a wonderful job. Give them a big hand. Yay! Now it's Edith time. So let's move on to Iwa. The Iwa School was founded in 1886 by missionary Mrs. Stratton. This is the oldest building remaining on the campus of Iwa's Girls High School. It collapsed during the Korean War. There is old classrooms with the old desk and chalkboard. It's okay for you to sit on it and travel back to the early 1900s. You can also see the old uniforms, trophies, school newspapers, and lots of pictures of the Iwa Hakdang students. Wow, looks like they studied a lot. When you plan to visit Iwa Hakdang, don't forget holidays and Sundays are closed. Now the last spot of the Deoksugung Palace Stonewall Walkway is Gyeonggyojang. What's Gyeonggyojang? This place was an office and house for an independence activist, Gimgo. Now we are here. Can you find Gyeonggyojang? All you can see is a hospital? Come on. Let's look closely. There you go. This place is very important because he devoted his entire life to the liberation of our homeland. But he was shot dead on June 26, 1949. The outside of the building is Western style, but the inside is Japanese style with tatami floor. You can see the reception rooms, bedroom, guest rooms, and lot more. When you visit the Gimgo's bedroom, try to look for the bullet hole. You can still feel the air on June 26, 1949. Now, this is the end of my tour of the Palace Stonewall Walkway. I hope you have a wonderful time with us. Thank you so much for watching, and next month we will visit a new historical site. See you next month! forget, subscribe,